Welcome to the Say It Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Vasavi Kumar. If you're eager to gain clarity, speak with unwavering confidence, and liberate those inner voices, you're in the perfect spot. My mission here is to empower you to break free, find fulfillment, and ignite your passion. You ready? It's time to say it out loud. I've put together a guide of my top 10 tested and proven to work practical strategies and habits to help bright women like you say no, set your boundaries right, live confidently, and build healthy relationships, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. This is a self-paced guide, and I can't wait for you to dig into it so you can start becoming your most confident self, because she's in there waiting for you. Head to the link in my show notes or go to vasavikumar.com/guide and grab it today. Welcome back to another episode of the Say It Out Loud podcast. I am your beautiful, brilliant, and amazing host, Vasavi Kumar, and I am so happy to be here today with Anthony Esperance, guitarist, songwriter of Papa Roach. Anthony, it's so good to have you here on the podcast today. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's really good to be with you. I was looking forward to this the last couple of weeks. So I'm glad we're getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, the way we connected was actually just by chance. I would say it's divine. I was on Justin's podcast, Justin Wren. We have a mutual friend. I was on his podcast, Overcome. And then I think I had seen that you had liked it. And then I was like, oh, who is this person? I'm like, what is this? What is this handle, Twanista? And then I started going through your stuff. And I started going through your stuff, and then I saw one of your clips on Justin's podcast, you talking about sobriety, you sharing your journey. And I'm always looking for people that I can have no bullshit conversations with here on the Say It Out Loud podcast. So then I just reached out to you. And it was beautiful, and here we are.
Yeah, it was pretty organic because you had seen one of my clips, and then I obviously went and watched your clips, and I would love to talk to this person because it seems like we're on the same wavelength. Yeah. And obviously, a friend of Justin's is a friend of mine. I love that guy so much. Him and Amy are just awesome people.
They absolutely are. And so I'm just happy that, through God's divine plan, we are here today. And I know that when I asked you, what do you want to talk about? You gave me three very at the time, it didn't feel like, I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. He wants to talk about perseverance. He wants to talk about sobriety. Okay, I get that. Okay, but he also wants to talk about social media usage. And so last night, I always think about my conversation before I have it. I'm always storytelling in my head. And I'm like, there's absolutely a connection between perseverance, sobriety, and social media usage. I think of our obsession with social media as the ultimate disconnection from ourselves. And that really is the cure for any addiction, right? The cure for any addiction is to connect back with ourselves. That's really what it is. So I would love to hear your take on just what is it about perseverance, sobriety, and social media usage, in your own personal life that you'd like to talk about today and share with my audience.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there's yin and yang in everything, right? There's inhale, exhale, masculine, feminine, in all aspects of life. I definitely think that's the case with social media. We use it as our brand. That's how we get things done in business now. It's how we communicate. But I lately have seen the dark side of it. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because for me personally, I go through so many emotions with Instagram and just social media where I hate it. Yeah. And I get off of it, I'll delete it off my phone and I call my girlfriend. I'm like, I'm off Instagram again. And she's used to this because I'll get off for 3 months and you will not see me post. And then you'll see me on it for a month because I get back into it. But, the negative things I'm seeing is if you were to go to your, what's it called when you go to your settings? Oh, screen time. If you were to go to your screen time and see the amount of hours you spend on TikTok, it's going to make you feel sick. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, speaking of perseverance, they have a passion and a drive, and then, maybe they want to write a book, maybe they have a song to write, maybe they have something to say, but they're not getting that done because they're doing this on TikTok.
And how have you found as a creator yourself to really walk away from and create that space between you and social media so that you can create and put your music out there and practice?
Well, you have to put you first, even at the expense of, my business or whatever. It got to a point where I literally Instagram was making an angry person because I would go do what we all do and just sit for 3 hours. But I was looking at let's say, other guys in my industry that are killing it more than me and are getting record deals, and I'm not doing so well. So then I start comparing myself, and comparison is the thief of joy. So then I was, well, why am I not doing so good? And then I'd see, a TikTok dance that everyone's doing, and I go, this is stupid. Like, look at these people doing this dumb dance, which that's not me to judge someone. It's not my business. But here I am judging someone because I think this TikTok fad is stupid. So I had to delete it off my phone, because if you have it on your phone, I mean, when you're in the car, you go to Instagram. When you're at a doctor's office and they say, take a seat, we'll have you in 10 minutes. You whip that thing out in 10 seconds. So deleting it off my phone helped me. And I would go and grab for the phone in all those instances. And I go, oh, wait, I don't have Instagram on anymore. And I'd put it back down. I'd find a magazine, or I'd do something else. So for me, it was getting rid of the actual app and the clutter and the nonsense. And now that I just went off Instagram for 2 months, I think, and I'm back on it. And me and my girlfriend had a good talk. She's like, you just need to use it for song releases. If you want to play a guitar through video and inspire some other kids to play guitar, post and get off of it. And so today, yeah, I'll go on for about 5 minutes, but I get off that thing. I do what I have to do business wise, and I keep it off my phone as much as I can.
I absolutely love these, like, just little simple ways for us to connect back with ourselves. I say this to my clients all the time. I go, listen, if you're going to scroll with intention. Scroll with the intention to engage with other accounts so that you can connect. I mean, I made that connection with you, right? Like, I made
exactly.
Yeah. So scroll with intention. If I'm gonna go through someone's reels, instead of being like, and I've done this, oh my God. And that cynicism, by the way, and I actually want to get to this, how that cynical voice in our head affects our own ability to create. But yeah, I mean, when I'm on Instagram, it's either because I'm creating my own shit, or I'm engaging with my friends' accounts because I want to support my friends because they support me, or I'm doing it to build relationships. And the minute it starts to feel like I'm like overwhelmed, I'm like
a time waster.
I just can't do it, because my Achilles heel is wasting my time. I remember there was a time in the very dark parts of my addiction, I would literally wait for an hour for my Coke dealer to come through. And I remember being like, I cannot believe I just wasted a fucking hour. Right. And like, so I cannot waste my time or energy. It really bothers me. So I want to ask you, going back, and also thank you for saying out loud the thing that all of us are thinking. It's like, oh, they're doing better than me. Like, no one wants to admit that out loud. No one wants to admit that we have that shitty voice in our head. Right. I mean, so I just really do want to say thank you for saying that out loud. But
yeah.
How did you make a connection, or was there an impact on your own creativity, right? Because you're sitting in that energy, right? Like, fuck these people, they're doing better than me. And then how did that affect your own creativity and your own discipline and your own, musical practice?
It definitely affected it. And I always tell everybody, my obsession always has been YouTube. I absolutely love YouTube because you choose what you want to see, right? You can look up anything in the world, history, science, whatever, and there's a 15-minute video on it from an expert. So I love learning. Instagram is more, the algorithm forces things on you and you have no choice. So they can be negative things. When you go to your phone in the morning and all you see is Russia and Ukraine, all you see is school shootings, all you see is all this dark stuff. It clouds your head in the mornings, and then you don't have a good day, whether you know it or not, because it's in your psyche. So YouTube is, all right, I want to look up the molecular structure of blah, blah, blah today, and I can learn from it. But I'm the guy that if you went to my screen time, you'll see 9 hours of YouTube. And that's, even though I'm learning, it's taking time away from my craft and from recording songs that I've been saying I want to record the next couple of weeks, because I get so into watching these videos. So I put the timer. You can do a timer on things like YouTube where your phone buzzes and says get off. I do that. So I do 2 hours a day now. But yeah, it inhibited me from getting in the studio. It inhibited me from running. I'm training for my first marathon in a few weeks. Didn't run as much because I was sitting in my bed. So that's what scares me for other people, is I know you guys out there have passions, but you're wasting your time on TikTok,
So the one resource that I want to offer everyone listening is my free training on the personal CEO calendar. And Anthony, this might benefit you too, but I actually block in my calendar creative times. I block out the times on
That's
my
cool.
calendar because, and when I'm going to shoot my reels. You think I'm on Instagram recording my reels? No, I batch that shit. So I don't have to be on there, and I want to go live my life. I want to be out. I don't want to be recording content. So I create the time to do that. So for all of y'all who know, you got to put your stuff on your calendar. The link in the show notes will take you to my free training. And I just want to say this, like, putting something in your calendar and your calendar is not controlling you, but in a way it is, because I know this about myself as someone who's creative. I was diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar disorder. I need that structure for my creativity to flow. So I use my calendar. I mean, like,
that's great to hear.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Like, a lot of people don't do that. And the importance of writing a list and putting things in the calendar, because when you put it to paper, it becomes real. Starts in your mind, pencil to paper, it becomes real. You want to accomplish it. And going back to what you said about intention with Instagram, like, that's what I'm talking about. It's cool to hear you say literally what I'm trying to post to my friends is don't just do the scroll thing, because there's no intention behind that. And there's an interesting thing that Dr. Andrew Huberman said. He's a neuroscientist. And he said, if you were to do an experiment with animals and you saw a dog in the backyard digging in the dirt, digging for 8 hours, looking for a bone that's not there and digging, you would say that animal is sick. That animal has a problem. But when we sit and do this in an airport for 3 hours, it's just what humans do. That's the things that scare me. So Instagram with intention, using social media with intention is exactly what I'm promoting. So it's cool to hear you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this, especially as like, I mean, not to toot my own horn. I mean, God has blessed me with many different talents and gifts, right? Like, and you too, right? And it's like, obviously you too. I'm like, why don't I like you too? No, but it's like, we have work here that we need to get done. And that's how I look at it. It's like, every time I'm spending my time doing this, it has nothing to do with my craft. It has nothing to do with becoming a better writer, becoming a better voiceover artist, going through monologues, like, just acting, doing all the stuff that I want to do. It's like I'm taking away from that, and the clock is ticking. I'll say this: I turned 40 in May. When I turned 40 in May, it was like, thank you so much. Yeah, brown don't frown. I hope to look 30. I hope to look 30.
You look youthful. You look youthful.
I am youthful, but I was saying, when I turned 40, that's when I was like, oh my God, Vas, like, you are midway. This is midway. Come on, let's, so there's a lot of those little habits that I think we need to cultivate in our lives. I'm really glad that you're bringing light to it. So how does this, I want to segue into your sobriety. I want to take our time to really go into your sobriety. I want to hear your story of addiction, recovery, sobriety, what that looks like for you.
Let's take a quick break.
Having been in therapy since the age of 12, I know firsthand just how powerful the process of finding the right therapist is. Going to therapy and talking things out with my therapist has made me happier, clearer, and most importantly, I have a plan for my mental health. I have tools to be able to communicate with others, and also the tools to cope when life gets hard, which it does. So let me ask you a question. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with the therapist. There's a link in my description. It's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Vasavi. That's BetterHelp.com/Vasavi. Clicking that link helps support this podcast, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with the therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing out about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. I don't know where I would be without the help of therapy and my therapist, but I do know that life would feel that much harder. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Vasavi. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this podcast.
Yeah, it actually ties into social media a bit as well. But my story with addiction, when I look back on when my drinking started to get bad, it
Mhm.
was when I started taking what I call tour drinking back home with me.
Mm.
Because from the therapists I've been with, they have instilled in me like, your job is not normal. Going on tour on multiple different cities and countries, having alcohol around, drinking on stage, drinking after at the after party, it's not normal, but it's all I knew in my 20s. And so once I started coming home off tour and we would go on tour for 6 weeks and be off for a month, let's say, I would start drinking at 1 in the afternoon and then three and then at dinner. And then
Mhm.
I would drink it all the way till bedtime and I'd be passed out drunk. And I'd wake up in the morning and go, oh, that was stupid, but let's just get back on track, go for a run, whatever. But I did that every day on my off time. And that's when I noticed it getting dangerous. And then when the pandemic hit, just like with everybody, drinking went up. There's nothing to do. You're stuck in your house. There's this scary virus going on. We don't know what's happening. So I just started hitting it. But I was hitting it to the point where I was getting so physically ill from my withdrawals, I was going to the hospital. There was
Wow.
two instances where I had my roommate take me to the hospital because the withdrawal was so severe. And good thing I did, because I didn't realize at the time that you can die from your first withdrawal from alcohol. You have to have medical supervision when you're withdrawing from a big vendor. And so it just spiraled out of control. And one of the things I would do drunk is I would watch Instagram and I would do those things I was telling you where I'd be like, look at this stupid guy with this dance. Look at this girl doing a duck fit. The society is so stupid. I was just this hateful, drunk man sitting in his room in a dark room, not talking to friends, not talking to my parents. No one knew I was struggling because I didn't want anyone to know. So I had about a year and a half of doing that. And thank goodness I met a girl
Mm.
that noticed it and called me out, told my family, and boom, there I was exposed. And that was the beginning of me getting help. Now that eyes are on me, I do need to take a step toward cleaning myself up because it was getting really dark. And I now have a sponsor that I love. He lives in San Antonio, 2 hours from me. We talk every day. I go to his house and stay with him. I ended up checking myself into a rehab at one point because I knew that was needed to go into a space with psychologists and psychiatrists and other addicts and meet these guys and see what they went through. And when I went in, man, some of the stories you hear in those circle groups, I was like, should I even be in here?
Yes. Hmm.
you know,
Yep.
am
Yep.
I okay? I'm in a rock band and I just drink a lot. Should I be in here? And you hear these guys that have lost their house, their wife, their child disowned them. They went to prison. They've been beat up on the side of the road when they were trying to get crack. And it just humbled me. And I went, dude, you can make it out of this. Like, you have the power to make it out of this. You have a team around you. And I will say, going into rehab absolutely changed my life and changed my sobriety.
I want to say, first of all, that girl is a keeper. Keep her around. Because
I am.
honestly, I was that girlfriend for somebody else.
Mm,
After I got sober, I was that for somebody else. But you're blessed to have a family that supported you, because the person that I was helping, their family was in denial, and you cannot make people change. You cannot make people wake up unless they're ready. So she's a keeper. I want to say that I really do
hmm
believe what you're saying about looking at the people around you and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. I don't have it so bad, right? So I would love to share this with you. When I first went to rehab, it was 2017 of November. I had just had a miscarriage. I was scheduled. I
Oh,
shared this on the podcast. I had an abortion scheduled, and the day before the abortion was scheduled, I was on a podcast interview just like this. I was being interviewed, Anthony. I was out there telling everyone to live their best life. Meanwhile, I was using cocaine after every client. You know what I mean? At the end of the night, live
wow.
your best life. And then I'm doing lines of cocaine in the kitchen counter, right? This was back in 2016, 17. And so I was on a podcast interview, doing my thing, right?
Yeah.
And I freaking had a miscarriage right during the interview. And I had to keep going, and I had to keep being like
Oh
this.
my gosh.
Yeah. And I've been working with my therapist to release a lot of the emotion around that. I didn't realize how stuck I was. Like, those emotions were so stuck in my body. Even as I talk about it, it's like, we have so many latent issues that we don't get to address when we have these blatant issues, right? So getting sober for me was the first step. It was, let's get all this shit out of your system, and then the flood of emotions come up. Then all the shit that we've been hiding comes up.
So true.
When I first went to rehab, I went to a state rehab center in Philly. I'm from the East Coast. I had fentanyl users, heroin users, meth addicts as my, people that and I was like, I'm Ivy League graduate. I went to Columbia. Like this,
Yep.
it was all the things you're saying. It was like, I don't need to be here. I drive a BMW. I have 6 figures in the bank. Like, I don't need, it's just cocaine. I'm not shooting things, but it's like, girl, you're literally snorting cocaine 5 days a week.
Justification.
It's not so bad. So I always say, like, I say, like, yeah, that was my rock bottom. Not really, because I went to rehab again in 2019. It was my high bottom. And a high bottom, I think, is a lot scarier than a rock bottom, right? Because a rock bottom, you lose everything and you're like, oh, fuck, I need to get help. A high bottom is like, I still have my car. I still have money in the bank. It's not so, like, it's all the mass. So you can relate to that, I'm assuming. Yes.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Rehab it opened my eyes to the fact that, like, you hear in rehab that addiction is non-discriminatory.
Yeah.
Because and I'm sure the same with you, in my group of men, there was dudes high up in JP Morgan, millionaires. And I'm going, how is a millionaire here? He's got everything he needs. Right. He's got the house and the car. And you see, there's a lot of successful guys. One guy in our group ran the Boston Marathon. I mean, that's so insanely hard to even qualify for the Boston Marathon. And here's this athlete of a man next to me just pouring his heart out about he can't stop drinking. So it just went, what it did is it made me realize that I'm not alone, because I was the hider. My parents had no clue. My friends had no clue. It was only because I moved in with this girlfriend of mine, and she lived with me, and she could smell it on my breath, and she could see me sneaking it, and she could see the glossiness in my eyes. She called me out. And if I hadn't have had her, I would have just kept being the sneaky guy. And so going to rehab and meeting people that go, bro, I'm just like you. I have the same story as you. I have the same story of hiding alcohol from my girl. And I go, wow, okay, now I have a teammate. Now I have someone to bounce ideas off of and grow with. And I talk to my recovery brothers every day. I call them every day. And it just keeps you in line. And I'm so grateful for it.
I actually might cry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry for crying, but I'm thinking about a lot of men, especially because I think, as women, we are given permission to cry. Like, I can cry right now, and it's like, and I'm thinking about my father who never was able to really say how he felt out loud. I'm thinking of men that I've dated who I used to like. I was so resentful toward them, but I had to get healthy and heal myself to then even now have the compassion for the men that I've dated, like, man, they were just hiders. And I always called them out and like, they're in so much pain. So I really do appreciate you just sharing so openly, once again, your own experience.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And I think what you're doing is really giving permission to for men to not have to lone wolf it and have to be like this tough exterior. And it's like, it's so beautiful to see a man with an open heart. It really is. It's beautiful. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I thank you. Yeah.
Okay, let me get it together. We
touched
when I'm on camera or on stage, I'm like, if I was to be like this, I don't even know how I'd get it back together. But
it's good to see this this emotion coming out of you is awesome. Like, you're right. I do think a lot of men think that way, and for me, it was more, actually, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, it was a status thing. When I was in my addiction, the darkest, I went, okay, I can't let anyone know that I have a problem. I'm in this band. I have to represent this rock band. I have to be this guy that inspires people. And if people know that you have an issue, well, then you're nothing. Like, no one's going to look up to you.
Yeah.
That was me, dude. And it's cool because when you do get help and you do reach out, all you want to do is talk about it. And all you want to do is be vulnerable. And it's dude, you get so much off your chest by being vulnerable. And I'm lucky to have people like Justin in particular, that guy's an open book.
Yeah.
He will cry on your shoulder and let you cry on his. And, and he was the guy in well, actually, I won't speak too much on it, but he is a guy in my life that I can go to at any time. And we've cried together, like
Yeah.
straight up. So men out there, let it out. Talk to your dad, talk to your best friend, whatever's going on, it's worth it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. How has you, I mean, I can speak to this personally. Obviously, I speak about it a lot on the podcast, but how has you getting sober helped you with your music and with your creativity and allowing the words to come through you? You know, because I know you're also a songwriter. Has it been hard? I mean, I'm not, I mean, I'm just gonna say this. I used to say cocaine was my medicine. I used to have I listen,
Mm.
I never used to go out on cocaine. I used to literally get a bag of cocaine, get my gas station wine, and start writing. And I used to use it for my creativity. I can't even believe how delusional I was. It did
You
help.
must have been writing like this.
Dude, I mean, no, I was typing like, and
Oh, okay.
I was making so much money during that time. So for me, it was like, oh, when I use cocaine, I'm creative. When I'm creative, I write great emails. When I write great emails, I make a lot of money. So it was
Yep.
like, I need this. So obviously we know that that's not true. I remember when I was working with my sponsor and she made me throw out my Vyvanse. This was when I had gotten sober and I was like, but I need it for my focus. She goes, when you find something you love, you won't need something to help you focus. And so I threw out my Vyvanse. How is sobriety? Thank you. How has sobriety helped you, or in a way, been hard with your creativity? Like, what's the real deal about that for you?
So what your friend said to you is exactly how I roll. So I'm lucky. And I was just on another podcast a couple of days ago talking with this guy Nick about how I am so grateful that I have this musical ability instilled in me, and I don't need alcohol for it to come out. All day long, whether sober or drunk, there's melody in my head,
Oh,
there's percussion instruments in my head all day. And if I'm in the line at the grocery store, I got my voice notes out and I'm beatboxing into my phone. So alcohol, I've never needed to write music, and I'm so happy that I can say that honestly.
mm-hmm.
But alcohol was more it for me. It was just the party, like of course I have issues like everybody. But when I first went into rehab, I was like, guys, I swear to you, I just like alcohol to part. I love it for being social. I love it when I'm with my friends and going out. There wasn't some like issue where I got beat up as a kid or whatever, parents divorce. And it didn't feel like that. So I never needed alcohol to write lyrics or music. I just did it in the studio because that's what you did. It was like not a peer pressure thing because I was old enough to make my own decision, but well, hey, there's Jack Daniels on the counter at this studio. I'm going to partake because these other guys are partaking. It wasn't to get anything flowing, thank goodness. And so sobriety, what it's done for me is just it's opened up more time in the studio
Mm-hmm.
because when I was drinking, I would be hungover all day and I'd wake up at 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm sober. I wake up at 7 or 8 and I can get in the studio at 10. So I'm more productive. But as far as having music come to me, it's always been there.
So in what way has sobriety, like, where do you still find the challenges? Like, what are you still challenged with, or are you challenged by
Oh man,
life?
I'm
Basically
challenged,
life. No.
dude. So it's for me, it's habit, it's habitual. So
Okay.
anytime I was in an airport, right, which I fly all the time for work, shot
Mm-hmm.
and a beer. That's just what you did. You go through security. Me and my bandmates, we go find a shot and a beer, which turned into 2 or 3 of those, and then you're on the airplane. So when I go to airports now sober, it takes everything. I feel this calling to the bar. I feel I have to literally zone out, watch a video, meditate because it's things that I used to do in my life that are drawing me back to drinking. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this. Let's see, I've been drinking heavily and every night since I was about 21, right? So that's 12 years. You can't have a habit for 12 years and just expect it to go away in 6 months or a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. So I'm almost to a year sobriety. I'll be a year next month, and I still have tendencies to go drink when I pass that one corner bar I used to always go to.
Mm-hmm.
When I go down the aisle at HEB and I see that one bottle of wine I used to love, it hits me all the time still. But I take the tools I learned from recovery and from going into rehab to stop myself. And the tools are call my sponsor immediately. I
Mm-hmm.
have to get on the phone. And he told me, we talked one day about how can I break that craving. He goes, well, what do you love to do other than music? And I said, well, fitness. He goes, drop and do 25 push-ups right when you get the craving. And I said, that's an interesting idea. He goes, you won't want to take a drink after you do 25 push-ups and your heart rate's up and you're feeling good. And I went, you're right. So I do that now. I'll drop wherever I am and I'll do 25 push-ups. And you just release all these endorphins and dopamine. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So that's like my little trick to
Yeah.
beat the cravings out there in the world, you know?
Whatever you got to do, for me, it was playing the tape out. It was, I would say to myself, this was,
That's good too.
yeah, I mean, it is because okay, so like you think in melody, I think in stories. I think in stories. I'm an excellent storyteller and I know this. I think in like, what is predictable, boss? So I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to text my guy. We're going to meet up. I'm going to get a bag, probably two, because I haven't done it in a while. Then I'm going to get wine. Then I'm going to come home. I'm basically going to shut all the blinds, play some music, get fucked up. Okay. Then the next day you're going to feel really fucking bad about yourself. You're going to promise yourself you're never going to do it again. And then about a week later, because that guilt has been sitting with you and that resentment towards yourself is sitting with you and is inside you and you can't be with it, you're going to go back and you're going to call him again.
This is all the stuff you're doing in your head before even buying the bag, right?
Right. That's exactly what I do. Yeah. So
that's so smart. That's so smart.
I literally play the tape out and I visualize it and I feel it. And I have such a visceral reaction to ever going back to the way that I was that I'm like, absolutely not. Like, and now I joke about it and I go, if I want to destroy my life, I know exactly how to do it. I mean, Anthony, I got everything going for me right now, dude. I have a property in Mexico. I have a book coming out. I'm feeling really good in my body. I'm feeling really regulated. Like it feels almost too good. Right. And I know my saboteur. It's like, boss, it's too good. It's too good. You got to fuck it up somehow. And even if I don't fuck it up, I wouldn't go back to ever using that again. But even the voices in my head can just start to make me feel cynical. Like it'll just kind of bring me down, kick me down a notch just a little bit. So I'd love to talk to you about emotional sobriety. Because a lot of times when people think about sobriety, they just think about getting rid of the substances, which is the first step. How do you maintain your emotional sobriety? How do you keep yourself from popping off, reacting? I don't know what your emotion of choice is. For me, it was anger. Anger was the most powerful emotion for me. I can just react.
Me too.
Yeah. So what are you doing to maintain your emotional sobriety?
Regimen. Regimen
like ritual?
Yeah. Yes. It's like, and my girlfriend and my friends will tell you, if I miss one thing on my little list, they can tell I'm off, like I'm a little agitated. But my mornings are like this, right? I get up and I go outside first thing. I want sunlight in my eyes in the first half hour. It just naturally wakes me up. And then I have 3 books I read. One was given to me by my sponsor's father, who's 84 years old, and he's obsessed with Native Americans. And so he gave me a Native American prayer book, and it's a literal paragraph for each day of the year. So today I went to October 27th, and I read it this morning, and it centers me, right? Then I read a passage out of the big book, AA, page 86, which is Upon Awakening. And then they also gave me a Bible, and I'm not a religious man, but I'm reading this day by day Bible because I respect my sponsor and his father so much, and they're men of Christian faith. Even though I don't necessarily know what to do with God in my head or Jesus, it's comforting to read something that has worked for so many people, and so I'm just dipping my toe in it, And once I read those books, I journal, and then I get a workout in. If I don't get a workout in, I'm a little grumpy. It's so funny. I just am a little,
just a little extra spicy. Just a little spicy.
And that sucks because some days you're not going to be able to work out, but I could always drop and do push-ups or some sit-ups or whatever. But as long as I do those things in the morning, I don't want to drink. And I always hit a virtual AA meeting at 6:30. So the morning combination with the evening is, if I can get those 2 done, for the most part, I'm not having a craving. And one thing I learned for the emotional side of things in recovery is it's called BBB: back up, breathe, be quiet.
I love that.
Whenever someone says something at you to pull something out of you, or says something rude, or cuts you off in traffic, it's natural for our emotional impulse to be, you mother effer, F you, and honk the horn. And that's so easy. It's too easy to be angry. So what's a challenge? Back up, breathe, be quiet. You're way less likely to lash out at that person or the car or whatever it is if you just take a second. And so I do that. I do that now. And it really works because I want to yell. I want to get that old Anthony out, but taking that breath, it centers me. And I go, how can I be smarter about my reaction? And same with a craving, because I drive around Austin all day. I'm going to appointments or seeing friends. And like I told you, there's certain liquor stores and bars around Austin I used to go sneak to. And it's like your little court, it's like your hole in the wall. That's my old buddy right there. I have to sit at that stoplight and look at it and breathe and go, you don't need it, and play out the tape like you just said and go, you don't need it, man. Just hit the gas pedal. Do not turn right into that liquor store. It's talking. It's all day talking to yourself. You almost seem like a crazy person, but it's what you need to do, you know.
I can't believe you just said talking to yourself, because as my audience knows, my book coming out, Say It Out Loud, is all about talking to the voices in your head out loud. I'm not a journaler. Actually, I am a verbal processor. So the way that I keep myself sane, and so the voices in my head don't attack me, which they have in the past, is that I say those voices out loud. I literally, and I get what you're saying. You sound like a crazy person. If I am feeling angry and I'm like angry at someone, and I'll say it out loud, and then I can tap into the more, the voice of reason in me and be like, boss, do you really need to get that angry? Like, come on. And I can reason with myself, and I can reason with
That's
myself
great.
in a positive way. The other thing that I want to say, and I don't ever like to sugarcoat shit, but when you say, you go by, or you see some of the old bars you used to frequent, or the old liquor stores, there's this Whataburger on 290 and Manchac. And that's where I used to go meet my dealer. And when I drive by it, and it's going to be 4 years in March for me since I've been sober from cocaine. And, in the beginning, it was like every time I'd go by, my heart it would just tighten, just tightens. Cause like you remember your state of mind back then, right? That's what it is. I'm good now. Vasavi now is great. But when I drive by that Whataburger, and I'd like go in and get their straw, because they had these straws, and I was like, I gotta go get the straw, to do what I want, what I want to do with the cocaine and whatever. But now when I drive by that Whataburger, I do still get just a little bit of like, oh, that used to be where, but it doesn't have as much control over me. It doesn't have,
because you have some time now. You have 4
Yeah.
months now, and a lot can happen in
4
4
years.
months. It's
4 years.
4 years. My God. Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 4 years.
That's quite a bit longer than 4 months.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because
My point that I'm trying to say is that the people wonder, does the pain ever go away? I don't know if I look at it as pain. I still get a sensation, but it doesn't control me like it used to. That bodily feeling of like, oh, like that memory, it doesn't spiral me like it used to. That's what my point was. Even after.
That's a good thing to know. Like, I think that non-addicts, normies as we call them, might think, okay, well, they've got 4 years under their belt. They've got 10 years under their belt. They're good. There's no more cravings.
Oh.
It's just not true. The best line I've heard from recovery is that we are going to die. We addicts will die with this disease, but we don't have to die from it.
Oh.
And that's so powerful, because it's true, dude. I know I'm going to be 50 years old, and I'm still going to see that liquor store and remember. It's tied to your memory now, because alcohol was my best friend. It was my best friend. And when I think about it, I drank from 18 to 31. That means I had alcohol for every breakup, my parents' divorce, a bad day at work. I went to that bottle, and that was my homie, and now he's gone. And we had to write a goodbye letter to our addiction. I thought it was such a dumb thing at the time.
I know.
But I wrote this letter as if I was writing to my best friend. I was like, you're no longer good for me. I loved you for 13 years. You have my back, but you're toxic, and I have to let you go. And as I'm writing this, I'm like crying, going, this is so weird that I'm writing to a bottle of alcohol, but it's not, it's the truth. And so that best friend, I'm going to miss it till I die, but it's the mental toughness, and it's the regimen that's going to get me there. And it's your circle of people.
Oh my God. Yeah. My father always used to say, if you roll in the mud with pigs, you get up smelling like shit. And I thought it was funny when I was a kid, because it was like, haha, I'm going to say the word shit, but it really is true, and I'm not one to cancel people. I'm not for cancel culture, but I am for having a very tight inner circle. And I always ask myself, are the people in my life, are they adding to my life? Or when I'm around them, do I feel depleted and I can't be my full self, right? And anytime I feel like I'm split from myself, I inevitably want to reach outside of me to feel connection within myself. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love I'd love to talk about perseverance. I think there's perseverance in this entire conversation. It takes perseverance,
Hmm.
when it comes to social media, when it comes to your sobriety. But what does perseverance mean for you?
Well, it just means not stopping, like perseverance for me. I could talk about it with music. It's something that I've never stopped. I knew when I was 8 years old that I wanted to be a musician. I got my first drum set at 8 from Santa.
Mhm.
And I remember playing the drums at my grandma's house and feeling this empowerment. It felt like a shockwave was going through me from like the heavens. And I remember going, yep, I didn't know I had this in me, but I'm going to play music for the rest of my life. So I've always persevered through when I've had to get jobs that I don't want to get. You don't just
Mhm.
become a rock star overnight. I had to grind and do coffee shop, restaurant jobs. I was a door to door paint salesman. I hated that job,
Mhm.
but I never stopped playing music. When I would get done with my shift at 5, I had an acoustic set lined up at a bar or a coffee shop or a wedding, and I would play every night, 4 or 5 nights out of the week, let's say. And because I wasn't going to let, the fact that I wasn't signed or in a big band yet stop me from playing music. And I think kids, especially kids today, I feel like a lot of kids just want to be an influencer, and that's not a bad thing because they're making money, but that's like a 1% chance you're going to make money off of being an influencer. And so I want like kids to know that you have to persevere through life. You need to go get jobs. You need to be the guy or girl that walks into a job interview and says, I want this job. I'm going to be the
Yes.
best person for it. And even if the job says, you know what, we're full, come back in 6 months, come back in 3 weeks. Hey, it's me again. I'm just checking in. And when they see that you're this consistent person, they're going to go, you know what, we lost someone last week. Yeah, come on in. It's because you stayed with it.
Mhm.
You didn't stop. You didn't give up. And we have to persevere through everything. Sobriety, the
Yeah.
music industry is crazy. Um, yeah, it's an important topic for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, when I was thinking about, and of course, my content brain is going right now. So I'm just going to say this out loud. And I want to say this to everyone in my audience as well. One thing that I want to recommend for anyone on their journey, and I've been doing this, I've been in business for 11 years. I've been sharing my story. If you Google my name, you can go back to 2011, 2012, 2010. I've been talking about my story, just me and sharing my life on the internet since the time I started my business. After I graduated from Columbia, I got my master's in social work. Then I became a coach and whatever. And I want to say that, like, no matter where you are, like, you're going to be a year sober, right?
Hmm.
Congratulations. Yeah. And for,
Thank you.
I know my audience, they have such powerful things that they've gone through in their life. And it's like, it's never too early to share your story, to start letting people know what it is that you've been through. I think about you right now, Anthony, and I'm like, man, there's so many young musicians that are out there right now who probably are glorifying alcohol, and then they're wondering why they're not progressing in their music, right? But here you are with almost a year sober, and someone that is admirable and very and respectable and vulnerable more than anything, right? It's more than anything is
Yeah.
vulnerable and honest.
Hmm.
So I just want to use this as my plug to always tell all of you to say it out loud and share your story. Like, you don't know who is going to benefit. I have videos that I have shared from years ago that people come back, or interviews that I've done. They're like, thank you so much for saying that. And
Yep.
this is why I don't keep my mouth shut. I just keep
It's
talking.
a I'm glad you don't. And I love the name "Say It Out Loud." It's true because, like we said earlier, with men in particular, they don't. They harbor it and they think that they can't say it. But yeah, like the clip I did with Justin, that was a big moment because when you put something on your Instagram, now everyone knows what's up. And only in my close circle knew that I had gone to rehab and had an issue with alcohol. But when I put that clip up, I just went, "Here I go." Scared, but all I got was an outpouring of love. And also what I got DMs from some people that told me that they are struggling with alcohol, and it's people I would never expect. That's usually who it is. You look at your friend that's, getting to the gym every day and they go to work 5 days a week. They're not a bum under the bridge like society thinks addicts are.
Mhm.
It was people that I knew from my gym that were like, I've been struggling for a year and I saw your clip and I went, boom, this is why you talk. This is
Yes.
why you talk it out. You have no idea the butterfly effect of what you say is going to do for people.
You free yourself, and you free someone else from shame. And I think about my addiction. Like, this may sound laughable, but this may be laughable. I smoked my first cigarette when I was 12 years old. When I think about that now, and I see my niece My niece is about to be, oh my God, I think she's about to be 7 or 8, and when I look at her and I'm like, wait, in 4 years, if she would have smoked a cigarette, I'd be like, that's how young I was. Like my addiction started at 12, right? Like, and maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was being groomed much earlier on
Oh
with the
yeah.
amount of trauma that I went through. And I just think about how much shame I was in to even share that I had done something like that. And that shame keeps us going. That shame feeds our addiction. And that is why we say it out loud. I don't know if you know this, Anthony. I mean, you obviously don't. This is our first time speaking, but I dedicated my book, Say It Out Loud, which will be out in May of 2023. I dedicated my
Awesome.
book. Thank you. I dedicated my book to my late uncle, my father's younger brother, who killed himself. He hung himself from a
Mm.
fan. And I believe that if he would have learned how to talk to the voices in his head, he'd still be alive.
100%. I have no doubt that he would be here. I have no doubt. And man, that hits me because you hear about suicide in young kids all the time, and a lot of it is from bullying, and a lot of it is from an issue that they have that they don't want to disclose to their parents, and then they off themselves. It's like, God, I'm glad we're speaking about this to people because it's so important to just talk. And if the best thing about therapy is it's a stranger. Like if you don't
Mhm.
want to talk to your mom or dad about something that you've got going on, or your best friends because you think they might judge you, just Google a therapist and call that person. They don't know you. They're not going to share your story. They have to
Mhm.
keep things confidential. You let them go, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I restarted therapy 3 months ago. So I was in therapy since I was 12 years old. I was in therapy for 16 years of my life, from 12 to 28. And then I got married. I'm not married anymore. But then I was on and off with therapy. And I recently started 3 months ago because I felt my emotional sobriety being a little shaky. I was going through some relationship stuff, a lot of anxiety. When I am anxious, it's like it's just not good for anybody, right? I did
Mm,
not like the way I felt, and I said I need to say it out loud. I'm helping
good.
so many people say it out loud. Who's there for me, right? So I started
Hmm.
seeing my therapist. It's been about 3 months now. He's 7 minutes down the street. Best decision I ever made to go
That's
back.
amazing. I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd love to hear, one of the questions that I always like to end with is, is there anything left unsaid inside of you that you'd like to say out loud?
Ooh, that's a great question. What is left unsaid with me? I mean, it's really just a message to people to take a step back in the clutter of your life. Take a step back in the expectations you think people have for you, because guess what? No one does but you. They're just thinking about themselves. I love the analogy I heard once. Well, I guess it's not an analogy, but it's a story of how, say you're going to the beach, right? And you want to pick out the perfect bathing suit. And you're in the store, you're going, no, that one's pink. No, I got my belly doesn't look good in this one, but this one makes my boobs look good. Or man, this one makes my abs look good. You go to the beach, no one cares what you're wearing because they only care what they're wearing.
Yep.
They're in their head. And here you are looking, do I not look good from a side angle? No one cares. You have to focus on you in every aspect of your life. And that's how you truly become happy. When you don't give a crap about what people say. And no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't think that way all the time, but I remind myself, hey, dude, that person's worrying about them. You worry about you, and things just start to happen. My days are sunny. I'd like to say before we go, try living in the attitude of gratitude. It's impossible to have a bad day if you are grateful for everything. And I mean, be grateful for turning a light switch on and that there's an instant electricity. Be grateful that you can go to your sink and get water. I mean, look at the little things and go, I have this. How is the day going to be a bad day when you are grateful for the people in your lives and the little things like a roof over your head? So practice that. Practice, practice, practice.
That message, the message of gratitude never gets old. And if for anyone listening, if you're like, no, it can't be that simple. I'm not kidding. Yesterday, Anthony, I finished my voiceover demo reel and I was done. I was and my voiceover teacher and I, we went to go get lunch, and I went to this like New York style bagel place. It was up north. I got this beautiful bagel, and I took that bite of the bagel and I'm like, this is the best bagel. And then I got in my
Yeah.
I got in my car. It's a brand new car. I go, this is the best car. And I looked over at my voiceover teacher. I'm like, I have the best. And I was like, God has given me the best. But
Yeah.
I saw it as not good enough. It was me. Like, I was looking at my body yesterday. I've dealt with body image issues my whole life. And I looked at my body before I went to bed and I go, look at your legs, look at your shoulder, look at your stomach, my stomach.
You go, girl.
Yeah. And I was literally like, I was like, I'm the best. And I was like,
that's awesome.
Not even in comparison to anyone else, but for me, I am the best. And isn't that what it's really all about? Is feeling good. So just thank you for saying out loud the message of gratitude again. I think we always need to hear it. And sometimes we just need to hear it differently from somebody else. You never know, I may say this and people are like, shut up, Vasavi, you're always saying this, but I bring a guest on and they say it in their way and it lands for somebody, so just thank you for bringing that message. And it was such an honor and pleasure to have you on the podcast today. Thank you
so much for having me.
If you love today's episode, then say it out loud. Subscribe, leave a review, and come say hi over on Instagram at My Name is Vasavi. Until next time, say it out loud.